You really gotta watch who you show love to. Love get your ass killed. Real talk.
For real.
I want a cup that overflows with love.
Somehow the rap game reminds me of the crack game.
Yes, that instead of focusing on those who committed this crime, you focus on the man that Adolph Robert Thornton was. Regardless of the name that you may know him as, such as Adolph, Dolph, or Young Dolph, we ask you to remember the man who enjoyed being a father and spending time with his family. We ask that you remember the man who enjoyed giving opportunities to those who are often overlooked and counted out. We ask that you remember the man who enjoyed giving back to others and being an inspiration to those who come from less than ideal backgrounds, and knowing that they are seen and can change their outcomes and the lives of others by doing something positive.
September 7th, 2023, Lil Baby is performing at FedEx Forum in Memphis. Mid-show, a gunshot rings out inside the arena. A man is hit in the abdomen. That man is CEO Gizzle, Young Dolph's cousin, one of the most visible members of Paper Route Empire since Dolph's murder, and the person the streets had already been saying was behind the deadliest retaliation cycle Memphis had seen in years. He was rushed to Regional 1 in critical condition. The show was shut down immediately. Lil Baby confirmed refunds for every ticket holder the next day. Memphis police stated publicly that the shooting was premeditated and that Gizzle was specifically targeted. And then, from his hospital bed, hooked up to machines, bloody bandages across his chest, he filmed himself and told his followers he was good. He told his opponents to pray for themselves 10 times harder than they prayed for him. He said no enemy was ever going to take him out. He told the blogs to stop posting him. In the context of everything that had already happened in Memphis since November 2021, that was not read as a man processing a near-death experience. That was read as a statement. To understand why, you have to go back to where the whole thing started. The war between Young Dolph and Yo Gotti's CMG did not begin in 2021. It began in 2014, when Gotti tried to sign Dolph to his label. Dolph turned him down publicly and without apology. He was building Paper Route Empire on his own terms and had no interest in attaching himself to someone else's infrastructure. In Memphis, where your alliances define your standing as much as your music does, that rejection was not received quietly. By 2016, the tension was fully public. Dolph named his debut album King of Memphis, a title Gotti had long claimed for himself. CMG soldier Black Youngsta began making open threats on Instagram and showed up in Dolph's own neighborhood to film confrontational videos. Then, in February 2017, Dolph's bulletproof SUV was hit with more than 100 rounds in Charlotte, North Carolina. A vehicle connected to that shooting was later linked to a Black Youngsta rental. 7 months after that, Dolph was shot near a hotel in Los Angeles, with CMG-affiliated individuals later alleged to have been involved. Security associate Ralph Hopkins testified at trial that Dolph had repeatedly turned down CMG offers and blamed the label directly for the California shooting. These were not diss tracks and subliminals. These were real bullets in real cities across multiple years. Dolph survived all of it, kept releasing music, kept refusing to back down, and kept building PRE. And then came November 17, 2021. Adolph Robert Thornton Jr. stopped into Makita's homemade butter cookies on Airways Boulevard in Memphis. He was picking up cookies for the holidays, doing what he always did when he came home. 2 men pulled up in a stolen white Mercedes-Benz, walked up to the building, and opened fire. Dolph was shot and killed inside a neighborhood cookie store in broad daylight in his own city. He was 36 years old. The grief that followed was unlike anything Memphis rap had ever produced. Flowers piled outside Makita's for days. Key Glock, the cousin who was more like a brother, disappeared from public view for weeks. And when the grief began turning into something else, Memphis entered one of the most dangerous chapters in modern hip-hop history. The investigation moved fast. Surveillance footage and cell phone records led police to Justin Johnson, who rapped under the name Straight Drop, within weeks. Cornelius Smith was arrested shortly after. A third man, Hernandez Govin, was charged with orchestrating the hit. Johnson's half-brother Jarkus pleaded guilty to accessory after the fact for helping manage their communications in the aftermath. The case went to trial in September 2024. On the very first day, Cornelius Smith took the stand and admitted to being one of the gunmen. He identified himself in surveillance footage from Makeda's without flinching. Then he said what the streets had already suspected, but nobody had confirmed under oath. Before the shooting, he had met with Govan and with Big Juke, Anthony Mims, the older brother of Yo Gotti, and a key power broker inside CMG. According to Smith's testimony, Big Juke had placed a $100,000 price tag on Young Dolph's life. Each shooter was supposed to collect $40,000. Govan would take $20,000 for putting the deal together. Smith only received $800 before getting arrested. Prosecutors also presented evidence that Justin Johnson made a FaceTime call directly to Big Juke right after the murder was done. Justin Johnson was convicted on all 3 counts and sentenced to life in prison plus 35 additional years. The Tennessee Court of Criminal Appeals upheld that conviction in early 2026. Big Juke never made it to a courtroom. January 13, 2024, 4:15 in the afternoon. A Memphis police officer near Winchester Road heard gunshots and moved toward the sound. He found 2 men down outside Perion's Restaurant and Event Center, where Big Juke had been attending a repast following the funeral of a family relative. Big Juke was transported to St. Francis Hospital and pronounced dead at 47 years old. Memphis Police Deputy Chief Paul Wright stated publicly that the shooting was targeted and that Big Juke was the intended victim. A white Ford Explorer with dark-tinted windows was captured on surveillance leaving the scene. As of 2026, no arrests have been made and the case remains active. The day before he was killed, Big Juke posted to Instagram, "They don't want to face you, they want to snake you. Stay alert, stay alive, watch your back at all times." When Cornelius Smith's testimony later confirmed under oath that Big Juke was the man who bankrolled Dolph's murder, the picture snapped into focus for everyone watching. The man who allegedly paid for Dolph's death was now dead himself, taken out at a funeral repast in the middle of the afternoon. The streets reached the same conclusion across every platform simultaneously, and CEO Gizel's name was at the center of every conversation about who made that happen. So who exactly is he? CEO Gizel is a Memphis-based rapper and Young Dolph's cousin by blood. He has been publicly visible inside the Paper Route Empire circle since Dolph's passing. While he does not carry Dolph's mainstream reach, that was never the point. What mattered in Memphis after November 2021 was not chart positions. It was blood. It was whether you showed up or disappeared. CEO Gizel showed up every time. He kept making music, he kept posting, he kept performing in Memphis without changing his routine for anybody. In a city where every public move by anyone connected to either camp was being analyzed in real time, by YouTube street media channels, Instagram accounts with hundreds of thousands of followers, Reddit threads tracking court documents and social media simultaneously, that kind of presence in the middle of an active conflict reads as a signal. It says you are not running, not hiding, and not done. One important clarification the internet often gets wrong. There was another Memphis rapper named Casino Gizel. His real name was Robert Tonstal, who was shot and killed on July 4, 2023. His killing was a personal dispute with no connection to the PRE and CMG conflict. His girlfriend witnessed her ex-boyfriend walking away from the scene holding a gun. A suspect was arrested and charged, but because the name Gizel appeared on both men, the internet merged the stories and folded Casino Gizel's death into the retaliation count being attributed to CEO Gizel. That created a body count narrative that spread across every platform before any correction could catch up. The 2022 Memphis mass shooting, where a single gunman killed 4 people in incidents entirely unrelated to either camp, got pulled into the same narrative for similar reasons. The internet built the count, and the name stuck. That is how a legend gets made in the digital age, not through verified reporting, but through repetition across enough platforms and enough voices until the story calcifies into something that no official statement can fully undo. What the documented facts actually show is this. Big Juke, the man a cooperating witness named as the architect of Young Dolph's murder, is dead. His killing remains unsolved. CEO Gizel, Dolph's blood cousin, was specifically targeted inside a packed arena in front of thousands of people, survived, and came out the other side on camera, from a hospital bed, sounding like a man who had already decided what he would do next. No charges have connected him to any of the deaths the internet has attributed to him. But in Memphis, the courts and the streets are telling two different stories. And the story the streets are telling is that the people responsible for Young Dolph's murder have been finding out what that cost, one by one, since the day he was taken. Cornelius Smith's sentencing is still being finalized. Hernandez Govin's case remains unresolved. Big Juke's killer has never been publicly identified. Every new development out of Shelby County Courthouse is going to pull this entire conversation back to the surface. And CEO Gazelle's name is going to come up every single time. What are your thoughts on how this situation has played out in Memphis since Dolph's murder? Drop it in the comments. Subscribe for more deep dives into the stories the culture is not letting go of.